topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Churchill said, "Those who fail to learn from history are condemned to repeat it." Kevin Hallinan believes that certainly applies to business. Welcome to Winning Business Radio, here at W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. And now, your host, Kevin Hallinan.
Thanks for joining in, everybody. Today, I'm Kevin Hallinan. Welcome back to another episode of Winning Business Radio, now streaming live on Facebook at Winning Business Radio, and soon on my YouTube channel, coming soon. Stay tuned for that. The mission of Winning Business Radio, as regular listeners know, is to offer insights and advice to help people avoid the mistakes of others, to learn best practices, the how-tos, the what-not-tos, the what-to-dos, and to be challenged and hopefully to be inspired by the successes of others. But it's interesting that every successful person that I've ever talked to has had some form of failure in their lives and or careers. So I always say, well, we all have to get our knees scraped once in a while. My mission is to keep those scrapes from needing major surgery. Let's endeavor to learn from history so we don't repeat it. Today, my guest is Judy Dang. She's the founder of Avid at Work. Here's her bio. Judy Dang is a productivity expert who helps consultants and executives reach the finish line, as she says, on blobby projects. Instead of starting 57 ideas and never finishing them, she coaches her clients to cut through the noise and focus on goals that take them to the next level. She's the inventor of the Goal Getter Formula, a 5-step process for getting clear on top priorities and the action steps to achieving them with ease and confidence. She brings over 18 years of project management experience from serving universities, entrepreneurs, and professional services firms. She's appeared in Forbes and Wired magazines and has dazzled audiences large and small with her unique perspective on compassionate productivity. Judy earned her Bachelor's of Arts degree in English from UC Berkeley and lives in San Francisco, California, where she enjoys hiking on the trails of San Francisco's Land's End with her husband, Andrew, making and eating tiramisu and camping in the Sierra Nevada. Judy, welcome to Winning Business Radio.
Happy to be here, Kevin.
I really appreciate it. It's been nice getting to know you. By the way, I noticed you recently had a birthday just a week ago, not even, so happy birthday, belated.
Yeah, thank you. It's a birthday month.
There you go. The whole month. So tell us, before we get into your background, tell us just a little bit about Andrew.
Andrew, he's retired. He enjoys lovely early retirement. So
Nice.
He makes me breakfast and lunch, and he loves to read. And, sometimes I love reading business books, and I have a big stack on my nightstand, and sometimes I ask them to read for me. He's the worst reader.
We all need an Andrew, I think.
So he's a good sport.
That's awesome. So I want to learn a little bit about your backstory. Tell us where you grew up.
Well, I was born in Vietnam and immigrated to California when I was 6, and we were boat people. My father and brother and I. Yep, we escaped Vietnam. Spent 3 days at sea, landed in a refugee camp in Thailand, spent 3 months there, and then we were sponsored to California by an uncle.
Wow.
So I came here when I was 6.
How much of that experience, the travel in particular, do you recall?
Oh, all of it.
Yeah, old enough to know, right?
Oh, yeah, 6 years old, yeah. I was confused. I didn't know where, my dad didn't tell me where we were going, what was happening. We didn't pack anything. It was just like, get on this boat. And it was a fishing boat, so we were hidden underneath. We were, going at night. And I remember being at sea, and just vast sea.
Wow.
Dark.
Yeah.
Being under the deck. Dark.
That had to be somewhat scary, especially to be 6. I can think of being 36 and scared, but I'm thinking 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you recall about what you left behind?
Well, my mom and my 4-year-old sister were still in Vietnam, and my dad decided not to take her because he thought she was too young to survive the journey. And my dad and mom were having a hard time in their marriage, so he didn't tell her
Oh, my word.
that he was going with us. Yeah, he didn't tell her until we got to Thailand. She didn't know if we made it.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
That's so dramatic. I didn't expect that story.
You didn't expect it. Yeah. So we lived in the States and for 10 years, and my dad sponsored her, and she came 10 years later.
Wow. That's outstanding. I love to hear that happy ending. What were your interests when you were young, particularly when you got here?
Well, let's see. I grew up in San Jose in a community with lots of other Vietnamese families. So we did a lot of what I call Vinglish, Vietnamese English. And it was this funny, interesting growing up in a village in San Jose. Lots of Vietnamese food, for sure. Lots of Vietnamese food. And I didn't have, non-Vietnamese food until I went to school. And I loved school lunches because that was the best.
Not a high standard, though. Not a high standard.
God, tater tots were my favorite. Oh my gosh, love tater tots.
That's fun.
I have a special place in my heart for school lunches.
I had tater tots just about a week ago. They were really good. They were part of a gluten-free fish and chips.
Oh,
really good. It's funny you said that, though. So you went to high school in San Jose?
I went to high school in San Jose and then moved to Fremont. We moved a lot.
Yeah.
We moved a lot.
Were you involved in any activities in high school?
No, when I was in middle school, I played volleyball.
Cool, yeah.
That was a good height for volleyball in middle school. And then after that, everyone kept growing and I stayed the same. So no volleyball after that.
You and me both. 5-5 on a good day. When did you decide to go to UC Berkeley and in particular to major in English?
Oh, Kevin. Yeah. I wanted to, oh my gosh, that story. Oh, right. So I had no
By the way, for the audience's sake, you don't know the questions I'm going to ask.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. I had no intention of going to college. I wasn't that studious, future focused, not that interested. And in senior year, my boyfriend at the time, it was Thanksgiving weekend, and it was the last day for applying to UC. And at the time, it was paper applications. And we were at McDonald's. And he said, why don't we just fill out an application and just in case, just to give you some choice. Because I thought I'd just go to junior college or get a job. And I was like, no, I don't want to. Come on. Nah. But he said, just do one UC, just one, just to have options. And so we were at McDonald's, munching on fries and filling out the college application. Filled it out, last day to postmarked it, forgot about it. Springtime came and I got the envelope. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So I got accepted into UC Berkeley, and that's the only school I applied to.
I should tell you, it's not something I'm particularly proud of, but I only applied to one school too.
Yeah? Where, and how, tell me about that story.
Well, my sister had gone there. My older sister had gone there. She was still a student there at UMass Amherst in Western Mass, about 2 hours from home, and in 2.5 hours from where I lived in Medfield. And she was an engineering student, software. And I thought, I like technical things, and I chose electrical engineering. But the school seemed good for her. So I wasn't really, I knew I was going to go to college somewhere. And I knew I wanted to go far enough away so that it was away, but close enough so I could come home if I wanted to. And UMass Amherst seemed to be the place. So I applied to the one school, got into the engineering program, and away I went.
Right. Just one school.
Just one school.
Same. Yeah.
I didn't have a fallback. And I didn't even think far enough ahead to have a fallback. My mother, both my parents were educated. My mother was a teacher herself, a high school teacher, but I didn't get a lot of coaching.
Yeah.
I get coaching in other areas of life, but in with regard to college planning and that, you're going to college was the message. The rest of it was kind of up to us. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Me as well. Yeah. Since my dad, English wasn't his first language. He didn't know the culture, the process around college.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to guide me. So it was just very much on my own. That's why I didn't have that many ideas.
So taking it from there, how did you envision, you were 17 or something, 18, 16.
Yeah.
How did you envision your career kind of post-college?
Well,
at the time?
I had wonderful teachers in high school, wonderful advisors. They took me in. They, invited me to their homes.
Wow.
They welcomed me into their families. I spent Thanksgiving with them, Mrs. Lotnick. And I really admired my teachers. And I thought, okay, I'm going to be like them. I want to be that for other kids. So I thought I'd go into teaching, actually, after college. That was as far as I got.
You finished your degree. You spent actually in the college, in the UC system, right?
Yes.
You spent, from 98 to 14 at UC San Francisco, as your LinkedIn profile said, starting as an administrative assistant and growing into a senior analyst position in 4 different departments. Can you tell us about, from a business perspective, how did you get that first job? Was it networking? Did you just apply? Did you know somebody?
No, definitely networking. I was at a job at a nonprofit, housing nonprofit, and my coworker just said, I'm going to try this UC thing and jump into the temp pool. And I thought, oh, okay. Yeah, let me check it out. So I did. So I joined the temp pool, temporary employment, and then got hired in a short-term job, which turned into a long-term full-time job. And then more opportunities came along. A faculty member saw me and said, hey, you might want to apply for this other job in this department. I was like, okay, great, thank you. And it was just navigating, and UCSF is a wonderful place with so many opportunities, so many places and positions to grow into. That's a wonderful place to build one's career.
And you feel like you had an impact there?
Yes. I did not know that my gift was being organized and getting things done. I did not know that until that was pointed out to me, like, wow, you're really organized and can get things done and stay focused. I was like, oh, okay, thanks for pointing it out, because I took it for granted, right? And I enjoyed sharing that skill with the people I worked with.
What is you mentioned, at least the prep mentioned, that you learned from mistakes, particularly at UC San Francisco, right? You said there were some blunders along the way. And we all have those. What did you learn? This will be the last question before we take our first commercial break.
Yeah.
What was something significant that you learned, you remembered learning back then due to some form of mistake?
This was a big one,
Yeah.
Kevin. It was the major turning point for me, was to listen to my intuition when something's not right. When it was the wrong fit for me and in this new position, I contorted myself and tried to fit in and make it work. And after the first month in this new job, I knew it wasn't the right place, but I stayed there for a year and a half.
Wow. And
so the biggest lesson was that when there's a signal, when there's an inner voice, pay attention to it. Pay attention. One, and then to not try to fit a square peg in round hole. That's good.
I like it.
Forcing. I mean, there's something to be said about, making good effort, right? But I knew at the start that was the wrong place for me.
We'll probably come back to that. I have one more question, but let's take our first break. We'll be back with Judy Dang, founder of Avid at Work, right after this.
You're listening to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan on W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. Don't go away. More helpful information is coming right up. right here on Winning Business Radio.
Hey everyone, I'm Jimmy Star, the king of cool and your host of the Jimmy Star Show, the entertainment radio show for all you cool and unique people looking to get a behind-the-scenes peek at what's going on in the entertainment industry. Listen in as me and my cool crowd of co-hosts bring you celebrity guests, new music, and the good times in fashion, entertainment, and pop culture. Right, everybody? Right! Tune in live Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on W4CY.com.
Hey, this is Kenny Wayne Shepherd, and you're listening to W4CY Radio.
Hey, this is Rebel Mother. Join me for In Your Face on W4CY.com, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Bestgen Wealth Management is a second-generation, family-owned financial planning and wealth advisory firm. In addition to coordinating complex business and personal planning needs, our firm takes a sincere interest in your well-being and personal values. Find us at bestgenwm.com. That's bestgenwm.com, where we consider all our clients an extension of our family. Advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, a registered investment advisor.
And now back to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan, presenting exciting topics and expert guests with one goal in mind, to help you succeed in business. Here once again is Kevin Hallinan.
Welcome back, and we are back with Judy Dang, founder of Avid at Work. So Judy, my follow-up question was, with regard to intuition, how do you think people can sort of hone that skill of listening to their intuition? What's your experience tell you?
My experience tells me it's a quiet voice. It's not going to shout at me. My intuition is a quiet, still, small voice. And with all the noise and distractions of, of all that, I've learned to, when there's an impulse, I'm kind of like how when you walk out the door and then something reminds you, oh, maybe bring the umbrella, something like that. It's like that.
Very good. All right, you spent about 5 years as a board member of Construction Incorporated. Can you tell us about that organization?
Oh, okay. Construction is a nationwide design competition in which architects and engineers get together teams and then build art out of canned food. So these huge structures.
I've seen that. I just didn't make the connection. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Out of canned food. And then there's a competition. There's celebrity judges, a gala, and then all the food donated to the food bank. And
what was your role during that time?
I started as a volunteer, then became a committee member, getting sponsors, and then my final role was a co-chair 1 year. Yeah, getting teams participating, sponsors, organizing the whole event.
What did you learn from that experience, and what do you take forward from it?
I think, whenever I am in a project or there's something I'm a lead on, I need to remember that for other people, that's not their primary priority. Right? Just because it's for me, like my top priority, doesn't mean it is for everyone else. So to be mindful, like they have full-time jobs, they have families, this is a volunteer situation, and to reset expectations.
That's very good. All right. Tell me, I'm teasing myself. I'm laughing to myself because my wife tells me I shouldn't be licking my finger anymore in this day and age. When did you decide to start your own firm and why? Take us through that decision-making process.
Okay, here's the journey. So I left UCSF and it because I was suffering from a deep depressive episode because it was the wrong place. Lots of depression and during that time, during the year and a half. And one day I told my husband, I need to take a break, leave,
it's time, huh?
get better, and then maybe come back, take a break. So I got a break. I took a break, a few months, but I never went back full time. During my break, I went completely 180. I learned to make furniture. Before it was like 9-10 hours of computer work all day.
Yeah.
Now it was like all woodworking, just on with my hands, learning how to make furniture at City College. Did that for a couple of years, made furniture, really had a good time. Took classes, architecture classes, interior design classes, and then that led me to an interior design degree. So I did that, I finished that degree, and then I opened up my practice, and I wanted to focus because I was so good at organizing and time management. I wanted to focus on home offices.
Okay, this is before the craze. This is before way before the pandemic.
Very, 10 years
This
ago.
was 2014, right?
Yes. Oh, 2016?
Before that.
Yeah. So I opened up my practice. I got clients. They loved getting a wonderful space. And then they said, okay, thanks, Judy. We have a good space. Thanks a lot. But can you help me with my time management and email and distractions? And I don't know how to organize my projects. And they were the ones who helped me to turn the page on a new chapter. So I don't do design anymore. I focus mostly now on time management and getting things done.
I'm going to back up just a little bit. What was the most difficult part of starting your company?
The overwhelming onslaught of things to do. Overwhelming. Licenses, paperwork, insurance, website, business cards. That was the biggest challenge. The overwhelming, and not knowing. I knew nothing. Nobody in my family owned a business. I had no entrepreneur role models. Nothing. It was like starting from zero.
Good for you. That's fantastic. And you powered through. Did you feel like you were taking a risk? You'd already left UC.
I wouldn't say I powered through. What would I say? No, I would definitely not say I powered through. It was a lot of start, stop, turn this corner, turn that corner, talk to this person, spending way too much time on my website, spending too much time on the wrong things. In the beginning,
that's a good lesson. Very good lesson.
For a business, it's making money, right?
Yeah.
Let's get some revenue here. Let's not do logo. So, yeah.
What would you say in addition to what we just talked about? What was another key lesson you'd like to share from that experience?
I would say get clients first. Wait for them to tell you they need a website, and then create your website.
Oh, I like that one. I like that one.
Don't design a website until someone asks you for one.
Oh, very good.
Right?
Very good.
It's all in the beginning. You got to ramp up and do some revenue generating activities. That's number one. And forget about social media. Forget about business card. Yes, that's later.
That's very counterintuitive.
When someone asks you for a business card, okay, great, go design one, but not until then.
I like it. Tell us who your ideal client is.
Ideal client for me is a successful, usually female solopreneur. Usually female solopreneurs who are juggling too much, family, business, personal, and they want help prioritizing everything on their plates.
Oh, that's good. I was just going to ask you what some of the challenges are. Prioritizing would be top.
And streamlining their businesses. Streamlining, like, there's this app and that app, and do I need a CRM, and how do I do newsletters, and should I be on Twitter or Instagram? All of those streamlining. And actually my favorite role is to remove things from their to-do list. That's my absolute favorite thing. To remove things from their to-do list.
You get fired up from that?
Yes, I do.
They get a tremendous amount of value.
Yes, that relief. That relief, like, I don't have to do everything all at once. That relief is humongous. And I did that. I didn't appreciate the value of that really until I heard a few people say that to me, and then okay, because usually we think of professional service firms as delivering value, delivering something, creating a service, creating a product, and giving somebody something. Right? For me, sometimes it's the opposite of removing something for them. Yeah.
Do you think there's something unique in that solopreneur mindset or makeup that makes them successful as a solopreneur that causes the need for you?
It's an extra challenge to be a solo. It's an additional challenge because I have to manage my business and myself. I can't just manage the business. I have to manage me, and it's like one of those infinity loops, right? And for me, the boundary of where do I begin and where's my business begin, it's a little fuzzy for solopreneurs, right? Because especially if we are the business, if we are the service, it's tricky.
And many probably work from home.
Oh yeah.
So that line is blurred between home and work.
Exactly.
Like many of us are experiencing now due to the pandemic, right?
Did you go into the office before?
No, we've always worked out of home offices. Our team is 3 people, Winning Incorporated, 3 people, and we've always functioned out of home office. Up until the pandemic, we had a training center that we used for smaller clients. We were on site at a lot of others, but we've just really shifted to the virtual, to Zoom like everybody else. But we'd probably had 30 to 40% of Zoom or some virtual platform
already?
prior. Now it's about 95%.
Got it. Now, how do you manage the boundaries for you?
Well, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. I've worked at home for 20 years. And originally we had younger kids, all but one are out of the house. And I'd set boundaries. It was not easy at first. It was definitely not easy because the kids would come home from school. They've all bound in at the same time. And, you want to say hi, you want to get, and so you could do that. But I finally figured out that if my office door was shut, they knew they shouldn't come in. So when I was done with something like a important project or a client call, I'd crack the door. So they knew if the door was cracked, they could come in.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's tough.
It is.
Yeah.
It
Set
is.
boundaries.
What about work hours? How do you set work hours for yourself?
It's just like anybody else would. I mean, I look at it as a job. So get up, get dressed, get showered, get dressed every morning, maybe pour an iced coffee a lot of mornings, start in. If my first meetings vary anywhere between some 7 o'clock meetings, some 8 or 9 o'clock meetings, right up till usually I don't like to work until beyond 5, but sometimes you have to. But as a general rule, 5 o'clock and I'm done.
And do you check email after 5?
Yeah, because I've got an iPhone, but I decide whether it's important enough to respond to then or it can wait till the next day.
And do you check email on the weekends?
Same thing.
Same.
I see the email, I look at the email, and I decide whether it needs to be replied to. I mean, some don't take but minutes, so you can reply. Okay. But you also want to be careful because you don't want your client to abuse that either. They don't mean to, but if you respond, on a Saturday night at 11 p.m., guess when they can reach you, right? So,
do you work on the weekends?
Very rarely.
Rarely.
It might be a project or it might be a prep for the next week.
Right.
Then sure, right? If I need to, but generally no.
So you have firm boundaries. I want to show you something. This is what I show folks when I talk about time and boundaries is we usually treat our time like a Ziploc bag.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, formless and misshapen.
Mm-hmm.
And I encourage folks to treat it like a crystal vase. Treat your time like a crystal vase with really firm boundaries and a small opening.
I like it.
Small opening instead of, saying yes to everything, right? This is the default. The default is yes, and the default here is no.
I like it.
No. So you have very strong boundaries for your time and schedule and work hours.
Definitely can't say it was always that way, but I've learned to perform at a high level. You have to do that.
Isn't that the paradox, right? We usually think
it is.
We assume 24/7. You're available. Why don't we just? Yeah, and it's the opposite actually.
Last thought before our break, and we'll come right back to this. But otherwise, we burn out, right? We have to take care of ourselves. I'm telling my clients all the time. In fact, I'm often asking, based upon a certain set of symptoms, and I deal with salespeople, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if a salesperson is underperforming, often my questions are you taking care of yourself? Do you get enough sleep? Are you eating right? Do you go to the gym? Do you work out? Do you get mental breaks? Right? All right, we'll come back to that same point.
Nice.
In just a minute. Sounds like you have something to add, but we'll be back right after these commercials. We'll be back with Judy Dang.
You're listening to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan on W4CY Radio. That's W4CY.com. Don't go away. More helpful information is coming right up, right here on Winning Business Radio.
Have you ever dreamed of having your own radio show? Well, W4CY Radio makes dreams come true. You can be a radio personality on the #1 ranked internet radio station in West Palm Beach, Florida. We can be heard in 105 countries and all U.S. states. Promote your business, earn up to $10,000 per month and more. It's all up to you. Have fun and be heard. Call 561-506-4031. That's 561-506-4031. Start your radio show now.
This is Rebel Medler. Join me for In Your Face on W4CY.com, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Bestgen Wealth Management is a second-generation, family-owned financial planning and wealth advisory firm. In addition to coordinating complex business and personal planning needs, our firm takes a sincere interest in your well-being and personal values. Find us at bestgenwm.com. That's bestgenwm.com, where we consider all our clients an extension of our family. Advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, a registered investment advisor.
Hey, this is Johnny Three Tears from Hollywood Undead, and you're listening to W4CY Radio.
I do whatever it takes to make it break through. Anything I'm face to face with, it's true.
And now back to Winning Business Radio with Kevin Hallinan, presenting exciting topics and expert guests with one goal in mind, to help you succeed in business. Here once again is Kevin Hallinan.
We're back with Judy Dan, founder of Avid at Work. Let's pick up right where we left off. You had a couple comments, I think.
So you said that one of the first things you ask salespeople is, how's your sleep? Do you get exercise? Yeah.
Depending on the symptoms that I see from that salesperson, yes.
Yes. And what do you find? What do you hear?
Often they're not taking care of themselves. Often they're sleep deprived. They're not getting any exercise. And I don't mean that exercise has to be they go to the gym and pound weights. That's great, right? But if they're not even getting out for a walk, if they're not taking time for themselves, if they're not taking care of themselves mentally and physically, they get in a slump.
Nice. Okay. So I wanted to ask you, since your expertise is around sales and mine is around productivity, it'd be really fun to tease out where they overlap. It would be really fun.
I can give you one example.
Yeah.
Every salesperson, regardless of what they sell, how long their sales cycle is, et cetera, they have to understand what their minimum behavior needs to be every day, week, or month, right? So let's say I need to close, or I could be a solopreneur, and I decide I want to generate 100K of income, right? Or I could be a salesperson at a company, and I'm either given the goal or I choose the goal of, let's just use the number 100K of income. Based upon either some assumptions or my track record or a combination of track record and assumptions, I can do a little reverse engineering and ultimately determine how many qualified, or better said, the easiest metric to think about is meaningful conversations. How many, and I'll use daily, how many meaningful conversations does Judy Dang need to have in a day to generate the number of clients per month, let's say, that she needs to hit her goal at the end of the year? And so we can take a look at if we have a little bit of a track record, we can look at our calendars. We can see how many closing opportunities, how many closing meetings we had with, in your case, solopreneurs, and what percentage decided to do business with us, right? And we can work backwards from there, a couple of metrics, really determine, all right, how many people do I need to talk with today? And then do nothing less than that.
Okay.
Right? Okay. And then we talk about the concept of the trouble line.
Oh.
We have to stay on we always say the right side of the trouble line. The right side is where we're generating income. The left side is where we're checking our website. Right? Just like you talked about when you got started.
Yeah. Know your trouble line.
That's right. Productive activities versus non-productive but important activities. Doesn't mean they're not important.
Yeah.
But when do we do them? And what priority do we put on them?
Nice.
If I'm in sales mode, the most important role is generating revenue.
Right. Right.
It's not the only one.
Is that right?
Yep.
Nice. Reverse engineer your metrics and know your trouble line.
Excellent.
Nice. What else do you say?
And then we often need a little bit of accountability. Right? Some can hold themselves accountable. Most need somebody else. A conscience, right? A coworker, a spouse, a significant other, a mentor, just to make sure that our BS doesn't creep back in.
Do you have one for yourself?
I do.
Yeah, it's so important because left to our own devices, we let things slide. It's okay. But when we have to report back to someone, and it's not like a punitive thing.
No,
right?
not at all.
Right?
Not at all. It's a voluntary thing.
Exactly. Like we're asking someone to check on us or keep us on track. And you're right, it's a voluntary thing.
High performers, right? I'm sure you see this. High performers value coaching. They value outside expertise, and they value often accountability.
Okay, I'm writing on a note. Wait, if people can't see what we're doing, I'm writing on a whiteboard the key words and the takeaways that Kevin and I are talking about. Can we talk about hacks and shortcuts and tech tools? How do you help people be more productive with that?
The easiest one is to help them identify. So if somebody's having a challenge with this, I'll help them identify what are the things they do in a typical day. And then to use that trouble line concept, which of those are right side trouble line and which are left? There's something we've done. I learned this from somebody a long time ago. I actually went out and made a whole bunch of these little plastic coins. And on one side of the coin, it says pay time.
Okay.
And on the other side of the coin, it says no pay time. And so I give them to many clients. If I should give them to everyone, that's just a reminder to me. I will do that.
Yeah.
When the button is up and it says pay time, that means I should be on the phone. I should be doing outreach of some form. And it doesn't mean, so don't get nervous, anybody. So Judy has to do business development too, but she doesn't sit in front of the computer and bang the phone 40 dials a day, right? But if someone is selling software or some service or product like that, then that's common for that type of salesperson. But nonetheless, what does outreach or prospecting look like for Judy? What does it look like for Bob, the software salesperson? It's very different, but it's still pay time. So when that coin is up and it says pay time, you can only do pay time things. You have permission to flip it over to no pay time. But during no pay time, you're allowed to do no pay time things.
Okay. And how do you allocate how much time for each side of the coin?
That comes from experience. Do a little test run, right? Spend the next couple of weeks and make some assumptions as to how many of those meaningful conversations you need. Then how much time does it take you in a day to do that? Maybe add a little just for safety's sake.
Yeah.
So for most people, it's not an 8-hour day in pay time. It's probably 1 or 2 or 3 hours a day in pay time.
Yep.
And the rest, now go do everything else.
Yes.
And I think I want to turn it back to you for a second. I think stress occurs when people are not clear. They may not call it pay time or no pay time like we do, but it's the same thing. Are they performing those most high yield activities at their most productive time and at their prospects or clients or customers' most productive time?
And oftentimes we get lulled into, let's check these things off my list, like these meaningless things, but it makes me feel good, right? To check off meaningless things. Yes. And
now, do you see that people spend a lot of time on what they like to do and what they're good at versus those things they should be doing?
The shoulds never get done. Never. Yeah. And the hardest thing about business development, sales, marketing is for consultants and professional service firms is that's not their expertise.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So they need folks like you to help them reframe the selling and business development process as part of their job and not something like an add-on. Because let's say for an architect, architects don't go to school to learn about business development and sales and marketing. But when they're a seller doer, they have to do that, especially a principal, right?
Absolutely. And I don't mean this to be a commercial for me, but most of them, as you said, are not equipped, but they're bright, so they can learn a process. And so our brand of sales training is not, we always describe it this way. It's not rah, rah, go get 'em tiger type stuff, right? It's a methodology.
Okay.
So anyone who wants to learn can learn a methodology, right? If they want to get better, they can learn a methodology. And we have methodologies for everything, right? Setting up your getting to your workspace every morning with your coffee, tea, water, flipping on your computer, checking emails, voicemails. That's a methodology. Those are steps, right?
Okay.
And so it's no different in selling.
Here's an area that a lot of my clients struggle with, me as well, is the lack of a follow-up methodology.
How do you help them with that?
I'm picking your brain, Kevin.
Oh, all right. I'm okay with that.
You're the expert.
The answer there is have a CRM of some kind.
Okay.
Whether it's a spreadsheet if you're small and you don't have a lot of opportunities.
Okay.
Or it's a pipe drive or a sugar or all the way up to Salesforce. Have something that you can use to track your conversations and opportunities.
Okay. Track. Have a tracking.
You could use Outlook if you're small.
Sure. Have some kind of tracking system.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where people
from
fall
experience, stuff will slip through the cracks. All right, you have something behind you that I'm curious about.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
This is my, I call it my external brain. My external brain.
Is it similar? I think this is similar to what you were just asking me about.
Yes, it is a tracking system for my business, for my projects. I plan 12 weeks in advance. So this is my 12-week plan, and each rectangle is a week. And I put Post-its of, these are the big rocks for that week. And because there's a finite space, I can't overload my week.
Oh.
And when I plan my 12 weeks, I put in vacations first. So I plan my vacations first.
Mental health.
and then build my big rocks around my big visions versus the other way around, right? So this is my external brain. This is how I know, okay, I have a webinar coming up. What do I need to do 4 weeks before the webinar, 3 weeks before the webinar? That way I can track, like, okay, this is what I need to do. I'm doing this, I'm not doing that. Things that, brilliant ideas that come for later, I put on a separate sheet.
So devil's advocate for a second.
Yeah.
Somebody may be watching saying, why don't I just use an app, or why don't I just use Outlook, or why don't I use some electronic tool rather than a whiteboard behind me? What's your argument?
Yes, I use both. I actually use this and Asana, because this is a big
Asana,
picture.
yes.
There's Asana, there's Todoist, Tick, lots of apps. This is for a big picture view, not the day-to-day. You can do this in Trello as well. It's a digital app. I find that when I use a digital tool for brainstorming and big picture thinking, I'm so like focused on the tool, and it eliminates creativity for me, having a digital tool versus if I can just like scribble a bunch of things and see the relationships. So yes, I do this and I use digital.
So would you recommend digital for someone whose thinking is different?
Yeah, absolutely.
You
one
would,
of my clients, we did this, and she says, Judy, I love Excel. I do everything in Todoist and Excel. Can we move this to Excel? And I said, yes, let's do it.
Probably works just as well, right?
For her, yeah.
Yeah, for her, right? For her,
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. The principles are the same, but the execution is different.
I wanted to ask a couple things. We have about a minute or so left, believe it or not. My favorite interviews are the ones that go quickly, because it's the same amount of time for everybody. But when we're engaged in having fun in a discussion is when the time seems to go a little faster. You created the goal getter, excuse me, I said it wrong, formula.
Yeah.
Give us a quick 30 seconds on what that is and how you help people with it.
Yep. It's a 5-step formula for getting clarity on top priorities, breaking down those big blobby projects into bite-sized pieces.
I love the word blobby.
Blobby. I use the word blobby because that's how it is for me.
Yeah.
Blobby. Yeah. And then having accountability, a tracking system. Yeah, and celebrating wins.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Celebrating wins, especially for solos. We are just down the weeds and just focus, and to look up once in a while and see, this is my metric, my dashboard to see my progress, because I have all of these things I've completed, checked off, it feels good. It keeps me motivated.
I like it. One quick plug. You've done a fair amount of volunteer work, Women in Consulting co-chair, Asian Commercial Professionals Program Committee member, board member of SF Construction. Give us a plug. Why should people be involved in nonprofits and volunteer?
Why should people be involved in? Because you will receive more than you give.
Oh, I love it.
You will receive so much more than you give. Yeah.
I love your answer. What's the best way for people to reach out to you, Judy?
The best way, avid@work.com. I'm going to write it on here. Avid@work. Yep, avid@work.com.
Avid@work.com.
The website.
They can fill out a form. They can reach out.
They can
ask questions.
Yep, they can schedule a 25-minute call with me, see what's tripping them up, what's getting in their way. Yeah.
Great. And I would encourage any listener who's feeling that way, please reach out to Judy. She's really good at what she does. Judy, thank you so much for being here. Sadly, we are out of time, but I really appreciate you carving out this hour.
super fun. So happy to be here. Thank you, Kevin.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. This is a show about business and business challenges. Listen, if you've got concerns about the growth of your company, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me on Facebook or LinkedIn at Winning Business Radio, or you can drop me a note, kevin@winningbusinessradio.com. It's not my only email address, as some people know, but I'll know it came from this if you use kevin@winningbusinessradio.com. Our company is Winning Incorporated. We're part of Sandler Training. We develop sales teams into high achievers and sales leaders into true coaches and mentors. We're not right for everybody, but maybe we should have a conversation. Thank you, as always, to expert engineer / producer Rebel Medler. Tune in again next Monday, August 23rd at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're going to do it all over again and have fun doing it. Until then, this is Kevin Hallinan. Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to Winning Business Radio with your host, Kevin Hallinan. If you missed any part of this episode, the podcast is available on Talk4 Podcasting and iHeartRadio. For more information and questions, go to winningbusinessradio.com or check us out on social media. Tune in again next week and every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time to listen live to Winning Business Radio on W4CY Radio, W4CY.com. Until then, let's succeed where others have failed and win in business with Kevin Hallinan and Winning Business Radio.